Hello guys, today I'm gonna show you how to configure a DHCP pool server on your Enterasys C5 switch. Now, all of us are aware that layer 3 devices are able to do routing and other layer 3 services. For instance, domain name service, the DNS, translating IP addresses into actual names and vice versa. Although today our main focus is DHCP pool on the Enterasys C5 switches. Now I checked online and there's a lot of resources for Cisco configuration of DHCP pool, but very little, very little, actually virtually none of DHCP pool Enterasys C5 configuration. Now, a C5 is basically, as I say, the layer 3 device. It's a switch, essentially, but it has routing capabilities. That's why we're calling it a layer 3 device. And today I'm going to show you how to connect to your PC, start Teraterm or Pari, depending on the client that you like. Me, I prefer Teraterm. And we're going to configure an IP address for the switch. Then we're going to configure the network. Configure the gateway, which is usually your router, and configuring the DNS. And then we will test for the DHCP assignment and check for binding. Where I mean by checking for binding is that we will be able to check using command line, the terminal, to see that our DHCP pool has actually bound or assigned an IP address to a specific device, in this case my laptop. So let's get right into it. Now first let us check that we do not have an assignment of an IP address for now. So you'll just go on there and if you check on the details, you see DHCP enabled is yes, but we do not have an IP address. Now, this is what we are going to change, and then we'll come back and look and see if we've been assigned an IP address. Now, first thing you want to do is start Teraterm. You can start Pari, depending on what you have. We have not associated we've not assigned our switch an IP address, so it is connected via a serial cable on my serial port onto the serial port of the switch. Make sure you check here. Sometimes you have multiples of this and you might connect to the wrong COM port. Mine is this one, so I'll click OK. The default press enter. It asks you, prompts you for a username. The defaults, it's admin and a blank password. That will bring you right in. Now, the first thing we want to do is assign an IP address to this switch. How do we assign an IP address? We say set IP address. Give it the IP address 192. I'll give mine a dummy one. That's 6.27.1. Usually routers are assigned that one most of the time. 255.255. First we say mask, and then 255.255.255.0. That is /24. I'll do a video tutorial later on masking and subnetting. We press enter. That would be okay. Next, we are gonna set. We are gonna enable the DHCP pool service, the DHCP service, that is. Doing that, we say set DHCP enable. And then we're going to create a DHCP pool and give it a name. Set DHCP pool. Let's call it training. Press enter. And then next, we are going to assign a network, a range to which the DHCP pool will spit out the IP addresses. We want it to start from a .0, .1. That means it belongs to the 192.186.27.0 network. So to do that, we say set DHCP pool training network. You can just press tab, network, and give the network IP 192.186.27.0 and the mask 255.255.255.0. Press enter. That should be okay. Next, we're gonna tell the DHCP that when you spit out the IP address, tell your clients that if you are looking for the gateway or the router, you wanna get out of the internal network onto the internet or an external network, then you're gonna use the gateway. So you have to tell the DHCP pool to give clients, where clients can be your laptop, your desktop, your iPad, or your wireless access point. You want to assign it a router. You want to tell it where to look for the router. Now this is what we're going to do. We're going to say set DHCP pool training, and default router, and then the IP address of the default router, 192.186.27.1. Remember we said, you notice we have the same IP address for the default router and the same IP address for the switch. Remember our device, C5, is a layer 3 device. That means it can do both routing and switching. So we're actually using this router as the DHCP server. So just press enter for that. Next, we're gonna set the DHCP pool training DNS server. Now the DNS server is responsible for translating or resolving DNS names. When you type google.com on your browser, there has to be a way that that name is converted into an IP address that is bound to the Google service. If you don't have a DNS server, then you'll end up writing, searching for something on the internet, and you are not able to get the service because your name, the string that you typed on the browser, cannot be resolved into an IP address. That's why you need a DNS server. Now, we are going to use a DNS server. Depending on your setup, you probably have a configured machine for DNS. I will do that in a later tutorial because of time. Mine is the 2, so just use the same and we should be okay. Now we want to save this configuration in C5. What we do is we say save config. If you're familiar with other extreme devices or Enterasys devices, for instance the SSA, you just say save, but here we'll say save configuration, say config. Now that should be okay. And then what we're gonna do is we want to check the configuration. We can say set show DHCP pool configuration and give it the name of the one you want to look for, training. Now that is what we've set. We've set the pool type dynamic, the network, the lease time. This is the default. The DNS server is that one, and the default router is that one. That means we are good to go. Now we can gladly check down here if we've been assigned an IP address, and we have not been assigned an IP address. So what we're going to do, we're going to reset this connection by removing the pillar and plugging it in again, so that it tries to identify what network it is in. And sorry, this is connected to my wireless. I do not want it to be connected to my wireless. device. Let's do show DHCP binding. I did not bound anything yet. So I'm gonna pause, check what the problem is, and then come back and share this with you guys. So yeah. Yes, now guys, if you remember correctly, the last time we were checking for binding if our DHCP server had actually remitted an IP address to our client, which is the laptop, and we couldn't really have a connection because we had an error. We did not have anything. The reason for that is because, during the initial connection, we had connected the PC to the switch, but without really having an IP address, assigned. You remember it's a 169 dot something. Now that is the default when you're connected to a network that does not have a DHCP server, and you ask your client to, use DHCP service for assignment of the IP addresses. Now, a quick thing to do for that is you want to release that IP address, that default IP address, and renew. That is like a way of restarting your DHCP service. You're like saying, hey, I'm tired of this IP address. Give me another one. Now to do that, a quick fix for that is just to say IP config /release. Now this command releases the IP that you've been initially assigned, and now you don't have an IP assigned to yourself. At this point, you could restart your PC and get a new IP, or if you don't want to restart your PC, or rather restart your connection, not exactly your PC, you could restart your PC or restart your connection, both works. A quick thing you want to do is just say IP config /renew. This one is like telling the DHCP server, I don't want to restart my PC and I don't want to restart my connection, but I want you to, specifically, dynamically give me another IP address. Now you say IP config /renew. Usually you get a prompt that it cannot be because it has, that thing over there, but technically you get reassigned. Now, just to confirm that, you can come down here to your network adapter and check for that. So you realize that, okay, this is an IP that is given because of my other controller. I have a controller for my wireless. Check right here. Okay, that is not what I wanted to check, but let's go here and do an IP config now, just to check. IP config, and that is our configuration. I do not know why I'm getting that, but let us do Terraterm. Enter admin. Okay, we are already connected to that. That is weird. I normally expect password when I do that. I don't know why I didn't. But anyway, show DHCP binding, and nothing is found. I still don't get why. I don't get where this is coming from. So IP config /release. Release. Again. Wait for it. 2015. Now, if we check what our network settings is, then it should be okay. Yes, no, that's okay. You realize we've been given IPv4 address 192.3. That is the subnet. These are the things that we configured back then. Now, if you come to Teratom and do a show DHCP binding again, we can gladly see that now we are bound. One lease has been given, .3, and it has been given to the MAC address of our PC. Anyway, thanks for watching. We had a few problems about the leasing, but usually it's just about restarting your connection. But that is the DHCP server. Thanks again, and see you next time.